Welcome, Jikook lovers. The live has ended. The screen went dark. But one question instantly made fans' hearts race. What really happened after that? Jimin's unusual smile, Jungkook's lingering gaze, and the timing that feels just too perfect. Did they really go to the studio together after the live? No confirmation. No clear explanation. Only warm, mysterious moments that leave everyone wondering. Was it just a coincidence or something more? One thing is certain, that night was far from ordinary. Did the live really end there? Or was that only the beginning of something far more intimate between Jimin and Jungkook that night? Welcome, Jikook lovers. Before you go any further, pause for a second and ask yourself this. Why did that live feel unfinished? Why did it linger in your chest long after the screen went dark? And why are so many of us still replaying those final seconds as if they were hiding a secret? If you feel it too, don't stay silent. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if your heart skipped a beat that night, and subscribe, because this story is not here to give easy answers. It's here to awaken the questions you can't ignore. Was it really just the end of a live, or was it the quiet opening of a moment we were never meant to fully see? When Jimin smiled softly, when Jungkook's eyes seemed to hesitate just a fraction longer than usual, something shifted in the air. Fans didn't scream because of noise or chaos. They held their breath because silence suddenly felt loud. And that is where the story begins. Not with confirmation, not with official statements, but with the feeling that something meaningful slipped through the cracks between goodbye and offline. People keep asking the same burning question, repeating it across timelines, comment sections, and late-night group chats. Did Jimin and Jungkook go to the studio together after the live? But maybe the better question is why that idea feels so believable, so emotionally logical, as if it fits perfectly into a story we've been sensing rather than seeing. Because sometimes truth doesn't announce itself loudly. Sometimes it hides in timing, in body language, in the way two people seem reluctant to let a moment end. The live itself was warm, casual, almost disarming in how normal it felt. Yet that normality is exactly what made the ending feel strange. There was no rush, no dramatic sign-off, just a gentle fade that felt incomplete. Fans noticed how neither of them seemed eager to disconnect, how the energy didn't drop but instead softened, as if the real conversation was about to happen off camera. Why would a moment so calm leave behind such intense curiosity? Speculation grew not because fans wanted drama, but because patterns were too familiar to ignore. Jimin and Jungkook have always shared a rhythm that doesn't need words, a silent understanding that shows itself in small gestures rather than big declarations. That night, the rhythm felt slower, heavier, more deliberate. And when the live ended, it didn't feel like closure. It felt like a door quietly closing while something continued behind it. Some fans argue that imagining them going to the studio together is just wishful thinking, a projection born from affection. But others push back, asking why so many details line up so neatly. The timing, the relaxed mood, the lack of urgency, the way both of them seemed emotionally present rather than tired or distracted. If nothing was planned, why did everything feel so intentional? The studio, in the minds of fans, isn't just a physical place. It represents comfort, creativity, and shared space. It's where walls come down and focus sharpens. So when the idea of Jimin and Jungkook heading there together surfaced, it wasn't random, it was symbolic. It felt like the natural next step after a moment that didn't want to end. And that symbolism is what keeps the conversation alive. What makes the story powerful isn't evidence you can screenshot or timestamps you can analyze. It's the emotional residue left behind. Fans describe feeling warmth instead of excitement, calm instead of chaos, as if they had witnessed something personal rather than performative. That emotional shift is subtle, but it's real. And it raises an uncomfortable question. Are we sensing something genuine, or are we simply responding to how deeply connected they feel on screen? There's also the silence that followed. No immediate updates. No casual posts breaking the spell. Just quiet and silence, especially in a world that moves fast and posts faster, can speak volumes. Was it coincidence, or was it space being protected? When nothing is said, imagination fills the gap, but sometimes imagination is guided by intuition rather than fantasy. Jimin and Jungkook have always walked a fine line between what is shared and what is kept private. Fans respect that boundary, Yet they can't help noticing when something feels closer than usual. That night, closeness wasn't loud. It was gentle. And gentleness often feels more intimate than any dramatic gesture ever could. The question, is it true, might never receive a clear answer, and maybe that's the point. Because the impact of that night doesn't depend on confirmation. It depends on connection, on how millions of people felt seen, comforted, and quietly stirred by a moment that seemed ordinary on the surface but extraordinary underneath. Some will say the story is being overanalyzed. Others will say it's being ignored too easily. But both sides agree on one thing: the ending of that live didn't feel final. It felt like a pause. And pauses are powerful because they invite you to lean in closer. So if you're still wondering, still replaying, still feeling that unresolved warmth, you're not alone. This isn't about proving anything. It's about acknowledging a moment that resonated deeply without asking for permission to do so. And maybe that's why it matters. The story does not end with that night. In fact, after the live officially ended, the wave of fan reactions grew even stronger. Timelines were filled with replayed clips, slow-motion screenshots of the final seconds, and the same question echoing again and again. Why did that moment feel so quiet yet so heavy with meaning? Why did it feel as if viewers had briefly witnessed something deeply personal, even though nothing explicit was shown? Some fans pointed out that Jimin and Jungkook did not look like two idols who had just finished a routine schedule. There was no sense of relief, no visible shift into work completed mode. Instead, there was calmness, emotional stability, and a shared atmosphere that felt unbroken. This is why the idea of them going to the studio together felt natural to many people. The studio is not just a workplace. It is a space of return, a place where unfinished feelings and unspoken thoughts often continue quietly away from public eyes. Others recalled how, in many past moments, Jimin and Jungkook seemed most genuine, not during the loudest stages, but after the camera stopped rolling. When pressure fades, authenticity often surfaces. That is why the ending of this live felt unusual. It did not feel like a conclusion. It felt like a pause, like a breath taken before moving on to something private and unrecorded. Behind all the speculation, one thing is undeniable: the emotional response from fans was real. Thousands of people, without coordination, described the same warmth, the same lingering feeling, the same sense that something honest had just passed through the screen. Whether it was closeness, comfort, or emotional safety, something resonated deeply. And resonance does not happen without cause. Perhaps the truth is simple. Perhaps nothing extraordinary happened at all. Maybe they talked briefly, smiled, and went their separate ways. Or maybe they truly walked into the studio together, carrying the night forward with music and silence. But the reason this story refuses to fade is not because of facts. It is because of feeling. The feeling that what we saw was unforced, unperformed, and real in its own quiet way. That is where the power of this moment lies. Not in confirmation, but in interpretation. Each fan holds a different meaning, shaped by their own emotional connection. No single version has to be absolutely right. Because human connection, especially one built on years of trust and understanding, rarely fits into clear answers.